What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frozen Rope Podcast. I am your host, John Hunter, and this is my guy, Danny, Pitchman Heart. Danny, what the fuck is up?
What's up, brother? Long time no talk. It's been a while.
I know, dude. I know. It's been about 3 weeks since we last did our last one.
I think it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. You know what? That is a perfect way to start this off the way I wanted to. Number one thing I wanted to say is I'm going to dedicate this season to my mother-in-law who passed away last week. We were going through some stuff with her for since 2 weeks ago, and when the actual last show was supposed to be 2 Thursdays ago, but she was a huge Phillies fan and always supported me with this, and I would like to dedicate this whole season to her and the Frozen Rope to Arlene. So that's how I want to start this off. But there is a ton of baseball. I know we say this every fucking time we come on here, but there has been so much shit in the last 3 weeks that we haven't gotten to. And I'm actually currently doing this episode down the shore right now, so that's why this whole setup looks a little bit different than it usually does. But
you got a mic drop at some point.
Yeah, dude, I have a full it's different holding the microphone today, but
it's different. But yeah, not being in Jeff Bezos' basement as well.
I'm sure it is. I was about to say, it looks so much different there now. Your whole life looks different.
Yeah, I'm in the dining room. Well, I don't even know. The kitchen dining room? I don't know. This house is ridiculous.
I'm sure. Dude, there is a lot. I mean, between the foreign substance bullshit, the injuries have just been insane. How many injuries? Like, I have a list of all the guys that I want to talk about injury wise, which is just, and there isn't a bad or like a small name on any of this. Like, it's we have some all-stars and guys who me and you definitely picked a couple of these guys for the all-star team. And it just blows my mind how that these guys are just dropping at this point. Like, could it be from the spider tack? I mean, there's a good amount of pitching on this list, and some aces on. I don't want to say that. There's a lot of top of the line starters on this list. But yeah, I mean, there's, and then I also want to get into the guys who we think are going to get traded, who could possibly be dealt at the All-Star break, or after the All-Star break at the deadline. There's so many good names that are really going to be available. Well, I think they're going to be available. I don't know if they're going to be, but there's guys who I think are definitely going to be available.
Yeah, you still got 7 weeks before the deadline's July 31st. So I mean, so much factors into that. I mean, see who gets injured, what teams are trying to get back into contention right now that won't be in contention, and they're going to be sellers, obviously, or low market 100%. Teams with big players that don't want to. They're not going to pay them in off season, so you might as well get what you can for them.
No doubt. So we'll start off with the biggest topic, and that is the MLB's foreign substance policy that they implemented a few weeks back, and it's because of the spider tack situation in the pit with the pitchers. It's me and you talked briefly about this through text and what our feelings on it are and why they are. I mean, Dan, you want to start off and why you think that they're implementing this in the middle of the season?
I mean, the fact that it's in the middle of the season makes no sense to me whatsoever. I know, coming into the season that we're trying to emphasize a little more, to try cutting down on it a little bit, but to go this far deep into it to where they're not even allowing players to use sunscreen. They're telling players if it's a night game or if it's in a dome, you're not allowed to wear sunscreen pretty much, which is ridiculous. Just I get this, the spider tech stuff. I get that. I get if you're putting an insane amount of pine tar, something on your hand to get that extra grip. But the fact that you're barely allowed to even use rosin at this point, they said if you use rosin to detriment the ball, you could be ejected just for that, which is ridiculous. And just the fact that it's the middle of the season, it's just, I mean, you're already seeing people dropping like flies. You're seeing all kinds of pitchers complain about it. Like if you can't grip the ball how you normally do, 60, 70, well, your whole life pretty much, but 70 innings into the season, and now you have to squeeze the ball tighter. That puts so much pressure on all your muscles in your forearm, your elbow. Like people are going to start dropping like flies, and they already have started.
Oh, 100%. And it's, I mean, you're seeing it crazily right now with, Tyler Glasnow was one of the ones who just recently, boasted about the fact that that's why he got hurt. That's 1,000% why he got hurt. And that's what he believes. And I don't think that anyone can really deny that. I mean, when it comes to, you have Jacob deGrom. Was he using this shit too? Because, I mean, the dude's dominant right now. And it seems like and
it's like
just keeps getting hurt. With
him now, I feel like it's more of his muscles that he wasn't used to putting so much pressure on are just sore at this point. Like the same thing that Glasnow said his first start, when he didn't use it, he said he went cold turkey without any substances. And he just woke up the next day and he had muscles sore that he didn't even know he had. Just from gripping the ball harder, it tenses everything in your forearm and your elbow. So maybe DeGrom's fighting through that where it's not structural. It's just like, oh shit, like I didn't like my shoulder's a little more sore than I used to be. My forearm's a little more sore than it used to be because he has to grip the ball tighter. He's still dominant, so like he's still there. It's just like he's uncomfortable.
And we talked the other day, and you were telling me about the Al Leiter thing. Can you?
Yeah,
can you tell him about what was said?
Yeah, he was on MLB Network maybe like 3 days ago talking about, or probably 2 days ago when they really announced it, and he brought just to demonstrate how much different today's baseballs are. He brought a baseball from '93, which I think he just came back from an injury or something, but the ball was literally brown. He said specifically that the umpires, the home plate umpire, would rub up the balls with whatever they wanted to do. Like they would take pride in dirtying that baseball to give the pitcher an advantage and give the pitcher a grip. Then he had one from 2000, still dirty, slightly, a little less brown. But then he had one from 2005. Again, it's trending in the direction of a slippery baseball. Yeah. So the 2005 one really didn't look that dirty at all. And then he caught one. These are all games that he pitched that he just took home for
the ball,
whatever reason. Yeah. Obviously not for this demonstration, but then he caught one in the booth in 2014 and looked like it came fresh out of the box. Like it was ridiculous. And then he had one literally MLB baseball, pulled it out of the box, and they were almost identical, the 2014. And like, how do you take a ball fresh out of a box and expect a pitcher to be able to grip it without using some type of moisture?
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because I've seen so many times when there was actually it was a demonstration of my wife actually sent me, obviously she knows how I am with baseball, so she'll always send me TikToks that have to do with baseball, and she didn't understand what it was. It was Anibal Sanchez, and he went like this, rubbed the top of his hat, got a new baseball, and then put it in his hand, and was just like moving it around. Yeah, and I'm like, he's putting whatever the fuck he wants on there, and getting it how he wants it, and that's fine. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I really don't. I mean, like baseball is a game of getting advantages.
Yeah,
you have to find something, because at that point, if they don't want this game to get sour and to get, I feel like every time something happens with the game that like gets people interested in it again, they take it away, and then they're like, well, it's not generating, we're not generating fans.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you're taking everything away that is generating fans.
I mean, like,
I'm not saying steroids should be legal. I'm not saying that at all, because it is what it is with that. I mean, and you see how that got, and it, you see how people get with that. Like, I would hate to take advantage of it. Yeah. Yeah, I would hate to see someone put danger into their own self, which is exactly what steroids could do.
Yes.
But when it comes to, like stuff like this, like little advantages like that, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think like it's not like they're doing anything like, how bad is that? Like how really honestly, how bad is that?
Yeah, and if it's that sticky, like if it gets to the point where it's that sticky, they're not going to be able to fucking throw the ball. Like it's obviously not sticky enough to where they can't release the ball and throw it 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just for grip. Like it helps the spin rate a little bit, but like
you wouldn't be able to have any accuracy on your.
No, you wouldn't be able to control it at all if it was really sticky like that.
And,
Like
that's where I'm confused on where this is, how bad this really is. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I get like if I get it to a certain extent, like you can't put whatever you want on the baseball, obviously, but
No.
they have like if they're going to implement a cold turkey like ban on everything besides some rosin, like that, it's ridiculous what the measures they're doing. Like, how do you do this without having a solution for the players? How do you not have like a commercial through and through, like a rosin, a little bit of sunscreen, just something like a formula that they could have provided to everybody, and everyone's on the same playing field. Like, I get that they're trying to, like, some people are taking it too far. I get that, but you have to have a backup plan. You can't just have these players just completely changing how they're throwing the baseball and completely changing the whole muscle, like, formation of their arms now. It's going to start ripping their elbows. It's ridiculous that they just pulled it out of nowhere.
Of course. You know what I mean? And, like, it's just funny that, like, and, you know, like, John Gonzalez, thanks for the comment. Like, he said Gaylord Perry was the king of the spitter, and he is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, like,
Exactly.
There's so many things that, like, I feel like they just don't care about when it comes to comes to a lot of the older Hall of Famers. Like, this isn't a trouble to the integrity. Like, people got to stop thinking that, like, this is an issue to the integrity of the game.
Yeah, you're ruining the game.
All this shit. You're not ruining anything. When things are going well, let them go well.
Yeah.
Stop trying to find things. Like, I loved watching. I've been a big fan of watching the way that pitchers have pitched. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're just better athletes now today too. Like
100%.
In every sport, obviously. Like, dunks in basketball today that are routine, you would never seen 40 years ago. It's just like the development of humans. Like, obviously, they're getting better. They're getting better physically. Like, the fact that baseball thinks all of a sudden pitchers are cheating, like they weren't sandpaper and Emery paper in baseballs forever. Like, all of a sudden now in the middle of a season, you're going to say, no, you can't do nothing. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, there has to be some give. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's what big guys like Trevor Bauer and, you know, guys who have been really vocal about it. Like,
yeah,
they want to see a solution here, but they also, there has to be some give back too. Like, let them have something. I mean, the sunscreen and rosin mix, you should be like, who is that harming? Who is that harming? Nobody, exactly. No one.
Like, literally, so if you're in a day game and you have to, like, people don't want to get skin cancer. They put sunscreen on their arm. They touch a rosin bag and get some sweat off their arm. They get ejected. What?
Yeah,
it's up
nuts.
to and it's like it doesn't have to be like asked to be reviewed by the other manager. It's strictly umpires are told if anything seems to be a little bit suspicious.
It's to the umpire's it's to the umpire's discretion.
Yeah, and they're suspended. Like, not only ejected, but they are suspended. And
isn't it funny that, like, I feel like Major League Baseball does everything they possibly can to push all the blame
fans away.
And not even that, they try to push as much blame onto umpires as they possibly can to try to make it like they're not doing anything. Like, the umpires are already in enough bullshit right now. Like, with people like wanting to get them fired at this point and getting rid of them.
Robot umps,
and now you're going to add them ejecting and getting people suspended on top of that. Like, people are going to really hate umpires. Like, you're at this point, like, you're just letting them burn and just being okay. And you're just okay with it. You're okay with them fucking burning. Not
to mention, their whole thing is pace of play. This has to slow down the game. They said every starting pitcher is going to have multiple. They have to get it. It's mandatory. Multiple checks per game, and then every reliever, it's either he finishes his outing, he gets checked right away, or he gets subbed out and he gets checked right away. Like, how the hell? How is that? And then if you do get caught, your team during the suspension is not allowed to add another player to their roster.
So you're just without a whole player.
You're without a player.
I didn't see that. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, this is the shit that, like, you're okay with giving teams a disadvantage now.
Yep.
Like, and that's what that's their punishment. And then and
then that puts more stress on the pitching staff.
But how bad is it that you're not even suspending them without pay?
I know they still get paid. They get paid, and they're not allowed to bring anyone up for them. So
you're giving
ridiculous.
You're giving a player a 10-day vacation paid.
Yep.
But, like, you're telling me that this is, like, the worst thing since steroids.
Yeah, it said repeated offenders get progressive, like, punishments, but yeah, for the first time offense, like, it's just a 10-day suspension. It's pretty much you throw at someone's head at this point.
And I know, I watched the whole thing on Trevor. Trevor Bauer was interviewed by it was actually by the Dodgers broadcast team, which was Nomar Garcia-Parra, Jerry Harrison Jr., and I don't know who their other guy is, but there was three guys who they did like a pregame where they talked to. It was the first. So the Phillies played them the other day, and it was like the first day that Dodger Stadium was open full.
Yeah.
So they had a conversation with Trevor Bauer about it, and that's when Trevor Bauer did the thing where he held his hand up and the ball was like stuck to his palm, and like he's just being him, like not giving a fuck and just trying to like
stir the pot a little more.
Yeah, he's stirring the pot, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. But like when he was talking, he was mentioning about how this isn't a new rule. Like this is a rule that's been in the books for years, and they just haven't implemented. And now for some reason they're deciding to do it. And that's what he said. He was like, because I think it was Nomar Garcia-Parra mentioned it to him, and he said, "Hey, why can't the union say anything?" And he went, "Well, because it was agreed upon already. This is something that was agreed upon.
This has been years
ago. Like this isn't new." He's like, "This isn't a new rule. This has been implemented for years now."
Yeah, plenty of people got ejected for foreign substances, like
while pitching. Yeah, and of course they have, but usually it's like a pine tar
on your arm or something. Always the perimeter hat.
It. Yeah, well they'll rub it and they'll do something. But like for them to like now add things mid-season that are now illegal is where they're wrong.
Yep.
And I think that's like something that needs to be like brought up more. But like, and it's funny because a couple years ago, and you'll probably remember this, and I feel like a lot of people are, and I posted it earlier in like in a baseball group that I'm in.
So Yadier Molina?
Yes, where
his
no
chest
one
protector.
Dude, no one talked about that. About that it was stuck to it. Like, why was that stuck to your chest protector? But they made it like it was like a joke.
Yeah, he was laughing himself
because he couldn't find the baseball.
Like around and then he started smiling. Like the dude spiked the curveball and it stuck to his chest protector.
Like it was Velcro. Like it was one of those Velcro like the gloves and the hand things.
Yep.
Like they made it like it was that. Like, and no one mentioned. Like I remember before I was saying. Like I remember watching that going, why is that sticking like that?
It's not like in a crease or nothing. It's just on the chest protector.
Yeah, like sometimes it gets caught in like the top part of the chest protector,
like in a buckle or something. But no, just directly in the middle of the chest protector.
This was on like the rolling sign, like right here. Like,
it was an absolutely beautiful block by him too. It's right where you wanted to be blocked. Like he put on a show, like a demonstration of how to block a baseball, and it just stuck there.
Yeah, and like, but like years later, we're thinking about it, and it's like, well, that's probably why it stuck there because there was something on the baseball, but like. It seems to me that that's needed. And like, people are, they're so anal about the way that the hitters are hitting now. But like,
that's not the pitchers.
But they say, like exactly. Like give the pitcher something. All these guys are just yakking home runs right at this point, like at a high rate. Like I showed you the number the other day with Vladimir Guerrero. Vladimir Guerrero had, at this point last year, he had it was 6. This is when they played their 63rd game, and he was only 25. He was only 25 plate appearances over what he did all of last season. He played all 60 games last year. He was only 25 plate appearances over his last year number, and he'd already had like 9. He already had 21 home runs, I think, at that point this year, and then last year he had 9.
Yeah.
So like you're seeing like a crazy amount of. Like offense is coming. Baseball offense is here.
Yep.
So why are you so like against pitchers doing well at this point? Like it's anything to hurt the pitcher. I feel like.
Yeah, especially like I'm not trying to take this away. It'll be ridiculous to take it away. But how batters then? I feel like batters should only be able to just grab a bat, not use pine tar, not use batting gloves. Like they can swing as hard as they want, not worrying about losing a little bit of control with the bat or not throwing it into the left field. Like they can just go all or nothing with no worry about it leaving their hands because it's stuck to their hands with all the pine tar and batting gloves. But a pitcher can't just get a little bit of grip on the baseball. Like it's just you can't. It should go both ways.
And like we were just saying, like it's clear that it's not like a crazy amount that is going on because otherwise that ball would just be stuck to their hand. Like they wouldn't even, when they're throwing, that just would stay there. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I think we're in a weird
unnecessary too. Yeah.
And it's a very unnecessary thing that they're doing here when this isn't even close to being the biggest issue in Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? Like, and which leads me now, I can just roll right in to one of their biggest issues right now in baseball is injuries.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, which we talked about spider tack. We heard from Tyler Glasnow, who said that could have been the reason, and he believes that is the reasoning for that. For his injury was because he wasn't able to do anything gripping the ball wise.
Yeah.
Not only is he 6'9", I think he is.
He's tall as hell. Yeah, it's at least 6'7", 6'8",
something like that. I think he said, and then he was like, "I already shouldn't be throwing the baseball 100 miles per hour at my height because of what it could do to my arm."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're fucking a giant. Like, I'm sure that like it probably was a little bit different throwing the ball hard. Like, I mean, you don't know any different, but like,
yeah,
that's just how like, you know, like, look at guys like Pedro.
Yeah, short, compact. Like these dudes, that arms are long as hell. There's so much more room for error, more room for damage. But like, so. I mean, obviously, pitchers are going to start getting hurt more because of this. Like, even like Glasnow knew right after he didn't get hurt his first start. He was uncomfortable when he went cold turkey. He was uncomfortable. Said everything was sore. Next game, UCL tears. Like, you're going to have so many pitchers so nervous about this. They're going to try overcompensate it or undercompensate it, and they're going to hurt themselves. Like, it's going to be ridiculous the next couple of weeks of just these pitchers are so used to doing one thing, and then you just take it all away, and they have to just go on the fly and try having a whole new approach. It's going to be it's different with a batter. Like a batter can switch his mechanics up at the plate a little bit. It's all pretty much the same at the end of the day. But a pitcher, like you can't just try a different way to throw a 98-mile-per-hour baseball. Like you're going to tear your arm apart.
Like it's funny because like you were just kind of saying, like for a hitter, what is the old adage is everything ends the same place.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so, like you just said. It all ends in the same area. For a pitcher, not everyone ends in the same spot. Yeah. And you need to have that science down.
Yeah, and throwing overhanded for humans and not a natural motion.
Nope.
So just the fact that these pitchers are so prone to injury on top of it. Like how many Tommy Johns have there been? Every pitcher gets a Tommy John these days, and now you're just throwing fuel on the fire at this point, right in the middle of a season. It's going to be insane the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and we got I'll run down the list of injuries right now. I mean, Max Muncy's hurt. Bryce Harper is hurt. Cody Bellinger is hurt. Tyler Glasnow, as we mentioned, is hurt. Severino for the Yankees just got hurt again in a rehab start. Why? Maybe because he probably just had to switch it up again.
Yeah.
Jacob deGrom. He has left his last 2 starts, I believe, now.
Yeah, all kinds of he's left probably 5 starts in the last 6 weeks.
He was dealing. He was
injuries.
Dealing yesterday. Was it yesterday he got hurt? Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah,
he was dealing yesterday. That's when he faced 9 batters.
Yeah,
faced 9 batters and struck at 8. He had a perfect game going.
And his arms are sore. I wonder if it's because he's squeezing the ball a little too tight.
And that's stuff that we are starting to, I think, really realize that's the big problem here is that's what's going on.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of those initial oh shit, something's wrong with my arm, but it might just be sore arm at first, and then you're like, all right, well, there's no structural damage. Like DeGrom again got a MRI, no structural damage. You're like, oh, great news. Yeah, but until he goes out there next game thinking it's the same thing, and that UCL is a little tighter than it should be, and it pops.
Yep. Yeah, because it's at this point there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And they can say whatever they want, but there's definitely something wrong here with him. And he's right now throwing the most dominant I've ever seen someone throw.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And
it actually makes me mad that they're going to try to do their best to take away from what he's doing, because they never took away. They didn't until the media went nuts about it, and Jose Canseco was a whistleblower. But no, they didn't take away steroids when they knew that was going on. They didn't, and maybe this is their way of trying to take away and try to make up for their wrongdoings before.
Of letting it run too long.
Yeah, but Robert Manfred has to realize that wasn't you. You didn't do that. Like that was Bud Selig who let that run rampant and didn't give a shit because ratings were through the roof.
Yeah, I was going to say they had primetime ESPN time like every night. So
they were cutting into the NBA Finals games to show Barry Bonds chasing the home run record.
Yeah, I mean all September,
you know what I mean?
like during primetime football, like September football, the beginning of the NFL, and Sosa and Bonds were McGuire. They were all there every night. They had the countdown.
Absolutely, and like people cared then. And I'm not saying bring back steroids, but what I am saying is when things are going well, I wouldn't really rock the boat too much.
Yep.
Because the more you keep adding, and the more bullshit you keep throwing at these players, there's going to be less and less who really want to sit there and people want to watch it. Like, I mean, we're already without a ton of stars. Like, there's still more. I mean, Mike Trout's been out for what feels like fucking forever.
Yeah.
And he's slowly. I mean, people are starting to really not forget about him, but
with all the new players in the league right now.
I mean,
he's taking a back burner.
You got a guy like Fernando Tatis who right now is becoming the face of baseball. Like, I get it. Like, and I had this conversation last week with somebody where they were like, "What about Mike Trout? What about him? Like, what? Like, yes, that's great. And I'm not saying that he's the best player in baseball, but he is definitely becoming the face of the game.
Yes, most marketable. He's a show pony. Like he has everything you want.
He is the cover of the show, which is the only baseball game going right now.
Yeah,
he is the face of it. Like, he is like Javier Baez was last year. I think this year was even more hyped of a baseball game than years. I mean, they even went as far as
the consoles.
They went to Xbox as well. So it's like there's so many things that have been like that. I feel like it went bigger, and it just goes to show. I mean, I'm not sure if it's directly because of Fernando Tatis, but that's why. I mean, again, here goes another one. Ohtani, I get it. Ohtani doesn't have Ohtani is a great player, but he's not the face of baseball.
Yeah, like
he doesn't have like that flair that that thing that Fernando Tatis does before he rounds third. That little skip.
Yeah, that Jock Peterson started doing.
Dude, that was great when he did that the other day. Yeah. But like that type of shit like goes a long way when it comes to
marketing everything. Yep.
Like people can say what they want. Ken Griffey Jr. was not the best player in baseball at that time. When he was
the coolest.
He was the coolest. Backwards hat, did the pose. He was never better than Bonds. There was never a day that he was better than Barry Bonds. And people might hate that I say that, but there was never a day that he was better than Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but if you asked 130-year-old baseball fans who their favorite player was growing up,
Griffey Jr.
85 of them are saying Griffey. Maybe 100%. 2 say Barry Bonds. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and is going to be that player.
100%. He's more marketable, and Mike Trout. And it's crazy because Mike Trout also plays in California where the games aren't until 10 o'clock. But Fernando Tatis is the type of player that you're gonna wake up, that you're gonna be like, you know what, I'll stay up and watch it.
See what he does today.
Yeah, because when he homers, it's fucking fun. It's great when he does it because he's a marketable guy. He's a piss poor defensive player, but his at bats are incredible. Like where Mike Trout is a great player and he's the best player in all of baseball. Yeah. He's not a
he's quiet, he's humble. Exactly.
He's not somebody who wants the attention. I mean, the show. How long has the show been around? Has he been? I don't think he's been on the cover yet.
I think he was on it once.
Was he? I don't remember him being on the cover of the show. I tried. I
pretty sure.
Thought about that. But I don't remember him being on the cover of it. I know last year was Baez. The year before that was Harper. I've been drawing a blank on trying to figure out if he was on one. I don't know.
16.
He was on 16?
Or unless I'm making it up because there's it says 16, 18, 21. They're putting them on everyone, but I think he was before.
Hold on, I got to see this. I because I don't remember him being on it. Nope, I think it is. I think it is. Oh wait, then there. No, because there it goes.
Yeah, you see the 18, 12.
Yeah.
Let's see, Angel McCutcheon, Miguel Cabrera, Puig. Donaldson,
Well,
Griffey,
one of the
Judge. Maybe not.
no, he has a deal with a mobile game cover, so he can't be on the cover of it.
He's on MLB.
He's on that other one.
Nine innings or something.
So he can't be on the cover because he has a contract with them.
Yeah.
So
it's a fucking iPhone game.
A second-rate iPhone game. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the type of shit that they do. But I was right before Roy's and he was in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
He was
steroids are not.
That's the thing that people don't see, though. People don't think about. Like I remember somebody said, like, "Well, he was only good because he was on steroids." He had 3 MVPs before the steroid era even happened, which in his day was 98. Was when things started becoming questioned for Barry. Was 98. He already had 3 MVPs at that point.
Yeah, he was already going to be a Hall of Famer.
No fucking doubt he was a Hall of Famer.
Did his head get giant? Did he start smashing home runs with his 35? Yeah, but it was great for baseball.
I mean? Yeah, of course
we're still talking about it 20 years later.
And wonder why? Because it was fun. It was a fun time in baseball. Like that. Did you ever see that 30 for 30 with it's about that whole summer?
No,
of the 98 summer with McGuire and Sammy Sosa.
I might watch that immediately after this.
I think it's called Long Gone Summer, I believe is the name of it. It was one of the best ones by far. And it just showed everything that went into it. And if you don't think that steroids save the game of baseball,
you're out of your mind.
It might not be on the surface for someone to say like this substance saved baseball. No.
Yeah.
But the fact that the guys that people came to watch were all on steroids is why people say that.
Yeah, I mean, if you let again, Trout was so quiet. Like at least all of them had some flair to them back then, like with the steroids. But like if you just roided up Tatis and Acuna and Vlad Jr., like you roided
just a
them
bunch
all
of
up.
juniors. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be insane.
The junior group.
Yep.
And I'm loving it. I'm loving this young core of young players. Like we're very fortunate to see these players, and I don't think we are really, because of all this bullshit, we're not really, talking much about how great that's like this is right now. We are in a great state in baseball, but like we're so enamored with other bullshit that we just try to push that away. Like, no, let's talk about the fact that we have 3 of the best young players we've ever had in the game right now.
I wonder if it has anything to do with like the analytical part of the game being so like mainstream now that players so young are being taught about launch angle and exit velo, everything like that they finally like it clicked to where they can actually teach it from a young age, and now they're just coming up ready to go. Like these players are already a finished product so young compared to the players that were 22 years old about to join the major leagues, and then they started messing with their swings. So like I think there's going like the up and comers are just so far ahead of the game. Exactly. Yep. Fucking try to turn them into a home run hitter instead of just letting them snap triples everywhere.
And that becomes an issue. I mean, I still have other players that I haven't spoken about that are hurt. I mean, you have Shane Bieber who's hurt right now. I mean, Matthew Boyd's hurt, and Max Scherzer is another good arm. Like you're talking about franchise arms right now that are.
They're talking about the ones on their teams, like number one in the rotation on their teams are all out across the league. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
and it's if you're not going to tell me that that's not good, that's bad for baseball. I mean, that's not bad for baseball. It has to be
exactly.
Like where's the star power? Like, have you looked at the Dodgers lineup? Did you look at that when they played the Phillies?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like you have random fucking players playing shortstop, playing
outfield,
outfield.
So
like I'm not understanding
team too, and there's just injuries everywhere.
Yeah, of course, and I mean, I thought Odubel was about to walk off the field last night.
Yeah,
he
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but they were and they were like, I remember like I was watching it, and then I woke up. I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then that was going on again, and they were like about to walk him down the tunnel, and I was like, oh shit. Here's another fucking thing that's going on, like more injuries, and that's the last thing the fucking Phillies need is more injuries. But like, I mean, they're that look at that lineup right there. The 2 lineups that we're playing in that game are just filled with injuries. I mean, no Didi Gregorius, there's no Muncy, there's no Bellinger.
Had a little Oh, setback too, DD. It's a shame.
Yeah, it sucks. It blows because this is the product that they're trying to push. And is there really anything to push right now?
Yep.
It's hard, but let me pause right there and let me tell you about the fastest growing construction company in the tri-state area. That's Garrett Group Construction. GGC is available to service all of your construction needs. They specialize in kitchen rehabs, basements, bathrooms, and kitchens. Choose Garrett Group Construction, the official sponsor of the Frozen Rope podcast. Call today for a free estimate, 267-262-1660. That is, once again, 267-262-1660. There is no job too big or too small. And while we're stopped, let me pause. And anybody who's watching the live feed right now, you can, and even if you go on to YouTube and watch this later on, I'm going to show you everything that the Buzz live shows we have going on. Monday through Friday, Sunday through Sunday, Sunday through whatever you want to fucking call it. All during the week, we have a ton of different stuff going on. And let me show you a little clip of all that stuff going on.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute it's chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish.
All right, that is all the stuff that Buzz has. They got what you need. They have everything from podcasts to articles to anything you can think of. They have it. They even have, we also have audio shows as well here. Just go on to the Buzz on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, their website, everything. Just go on there. You can just get lost in there sometimes with all the stuff they have, all the info they have. But yeah, go to the Buzz. So one of the next things I want to talk about was where there's a lot of players that are going to be available to certain teams, certain areas come the trade deadline. I have, how many names did I write down? I think I wrote down 5 names. I wrote down 5 names. Unfortunately, I just realized that there are 5 people from 2 different teams and from one state.
5 people, 2 different teams, 1 state.
Yeah. Drew Carey is a big person in one of them.
So it's Cincinnati and
Cleveland.
Yeah.
All right. So I just don't see a world where either of them two teams are going to be very competitive this year at all. I mean, we've already seen this. Neither team is really competitive right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the American League Central and the National League Central are pretty top heavy right now. And neither of them teams are really great.
Yeah.
They're not really the top teams.
Do you think Castellanos gets dealt? You think that's a possibility?
He is on my list as a possibility. Like right now, Cleveland is in second place.
Yeah.
In the American League Central. They're 4 games out. But we also have to remember that this wild card situation is probably not going to be easy when it comes to Houston, the Yankees, Toronto, Boston. Like there's a lot of teams in the American League.
Yeah.
Do I think that I don't know. Do I think that they're going to be able to compete? No, I think their best move would probably be try to get some assets for some of their players they have right now. 2 guys that I liked from there were Shane Bieber being one of them that I think could help an actual series contender Like, are they contenders or are they pretenders right now? And I think we're in a pretender stage right now with them. And it's only if he's healthy, obviously. You can really do anything with him.
Yeah.
The other one is Jose Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this team. Just gave up on Francisco Lindor.
And Lindor, Carrasco.
They didn't want to give them extensions.
Exactly. Yep.
The biggest reason Reyes. I was
Reyes
the
2.0.
same person. Yeah. Every time I look at Lindor, I think about that is why he left there, and that's why he left there because they didn't want to pay him. They're not going to pay either of them either.
Yeah, not for what they're worth. Definitely not.
No, because I mean, Jose Ramirez is a bona fide MVP every year, and Shane Bieber is a bona fide Cy Young Award winner.
Exactly. Yep.
So you have two guys who you can probably right now cash in on like crazy.
Yeah, big time. I mean, they're both obviously in their prime, and Ramirez gives you that second base or third base option. It plays solid defense, and he's just an absolute stud. So wherever he goes, he's hitting 2-3. Like he put him in any lineup, he's going right in the heart of it. So it usually adds a ton to a contender.
100%. And then the other three are from the other team in Ohio, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
I have Sonny Gray.
Yeah, Sonny Gray's probably going.
Who is his contract's so friendly. It's 3 years, $10 million a year.
Yeah, which is a steal. The only thing with Castellanos is he's going to opt out of that contract.
Oh, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, but that's all the more reason for them to deal him. He's going to test free agency, and he's going to get a big contract. So why not take advantage of him being one of the top 5 hitters in baseball right now? He's just flat out stud.
Like I can tell you right now that the Cubs are kicking themselves for not keeping it.
Yeah,
they have to. They have
to
be kicking themselves. And a big reason for that is because I mean the dude's fucking tearing the cover off the ball. He's one of the 3 best hitters in the National League right now as far as WRC plus, F4, offensive stat. The offensive stat that Fangraphs has that off is what it just is what it says up top. But it's offensive value. It's his offensive value, and he's one of the 3 best hitters in the National League right now. The other one is Jesse Winker.
Yeah.
Who also is making a case for, hey, maybe a team might want to take a shot on him too. I mean, right now Right now Cincinnati sits at where are they at in their division? Right now they sit in 3rd in their division behind Chicago and Milwaukee. I mean,
and you got
St. Louis.
You got the Cardinals right there, yeah.
Yeah, like
it's gonna be tough for them to sneak into the playoffs.
Exactly. With everyone else in their own they have their own division to worry about right now.
Yeah.
And then you go and see other shit with as far as other divisions and other teams.
And then you got the wild card in the NL is pretty much sewn up in the NL West. Like they're gonna have 3 teams make the playoffs.
100%. So you're already looking at the wild card right there. So in order for you to get into the playoffs, you need to win your division.
Yep.
And do you see Cincinnati win that division?
Nope.
No, neither do I.
We talked about it. There's 6 weeks before that, but I mean, looking at it right now, there's going to be if they're sellers, there's going to be buyers for Winker and Castellanos immediately. Like they're definitely fielding calls right now for them.
And right now, Cincinnati is on a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, I mean they're playing well, and Castellanos might like Winker. They might hit themselves in the not being a seller, and that might wind up hurting them for the rest of the season.
And that's where I think teams get, lost is where they look at where they're at that current moment. Like, no, think about the real trajectory of the whole season and how it's going to go. Like, this is where I like advanced stats and I like that stuff because it predicts a lot of things and it usually is right. There's a lot of things
averages,
exactly.
Come back to reality.
Yeah, things are going to drop again. So right now, like, is Jesse Winker going to be a fucking MVP candidate? No fucking clue. But right now, he looks like one.
Exactly.
Like this was my whole thing last year with the Phillies with Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah,
Rhys Hoskins looked like an MVP candidate last year. What they could have done instead of in their weird fucking minds thought that they were going to, I guess, make a run.
Go get Clevenger.
You should have went and got a pitcher. Like hindsight, Clevenger's hurt right now. He's out for the whole year.
Yeah,
but
some
you didn't know that was going to happen. And right now, going into next season, the Phillies would look like a fucking great rotation going into next season with Nola, Clevenger, and Wheeler.
Yeah. Yep.
Like there's stuff like that I don't if I'm a GM, I'm looking at it that way, and I'm looking at it like long term. I'm not looking at myself and thinking, well, we're competing right now. Like, who gives a fuck if you're competing right now? It's not really going to do anything for you. Like, you competing at this very moment is not winning you anything because you're not going to win anything. I tell you that right now. There's 3 teams in the National League West that are 1,000 times better than every team in the National League Central.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like, I mean, and you have one team in the National League West who is also kind of playing pretender a little bit, but they're winning. They're figuring it out. And that's the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, it's crazy that they just keep winning.
they're just
fucking.
I mean, they're a plus 86 run differential right now.
It's ridiculous.
They've won 7 of their last 10. They have a 2.5 game lead over the Dodgers, who right now this is the Giants' time to pounce.
Yeah.
I mean, all the injuries to the Giants.
Smoke injuries.
Just try to separate yourself a little bit. 2.5 games. I mean, no one here saw that happening.
No, absolutely not. It was obviously Padres or Dodgers. No one was like, oh, maybe the Giants will win the division. No, that wasn't a thing. Their pitching staff, like I mean, and they're smacking home runs too. Such a weird, like their team's playing great throughout.
And it's a bunch of old heads too. Longoria, Brandon
Posey,
Crawford, Posey. Like you're seeing,
you're seeing guys
who I watched them win a World Series 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I've seen these exact guys, other than Longoria, win a World Series 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's weird.
And they're still playing good.
And they're back. Yeah.
And they're back. They're ready. You know what I mean? Like they're
a couple years, and then all of a sudden, they're just playing great baseball. And then their pitching staff's 5 starting pitchers that were like castaways from other teams that just decided, like, we'll just go be the best pitching staff in baseball. Like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, you got Gausman, Cueto decided to, compete for his contract again.
Yeah.
Like that he got from them. And like, it's been nice. It's been really nice seeing this team, do something. I mean, it's always funny watching, Phillies fans freak out about Gabe Kapler. That's been probably one of my favorite things is that people are trying to compare them to like, well, Gabe's now winning. Gabe had a way different team. Has a way different team than he did then.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at this, I mean, me and you are going to go on that show on Monday, but like, when you look at this team, when you look at that Phillies team, I don't see a contender like everyone else did. I don't see it. They're okay. They're a solid team.
Yeah, but I thought their offense would be a lot better than it was, and
of course it was. But you know what? And we can also blame that on injuries.
Yeah.
Also, like they have an out. The Phillies have an out, and the out is injuries.
Yeah, I feel like the Giants, for the most part, have been predominantly healthy all season.
Of course they have.
They're one of the few teams that haven't really dealt with the injury bug.
Yeah, I mean they've done pretty well. I mean, I actually looked at all the injuries to teams this year, and where was that? I was looking at it earlier because I wanted to just, run by it. Yeah, here we go. I mean, the Giants have right now on their injury, Longoria is about to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Yaz sprained his thumb. Belt's went to the IL. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, they all just got hurt, right?
And that all just happened. Yeah. And they're about to face, and now they're about to play the Phillies. But like, an injury to a guy like Longoria is not the worst right now for 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, at that point, that'll run you into a little bit past the All-Star break, which, to be honest, that's where you kind of want them. You want that
exactly.
to happen.
You might not.
That's fine.
Exactly. He give him a little rest on his body for a month
because he's not the 23-year-old Longoria who was in the World Series against the Phillies. You know what I mean? In 07. Or 08. Was that 08? 08. Yeah, he's not that guy anymore. You know what I mean? He's an older player now. But like these are just adding on to more of the more of the injuries, you know what I mean, that are just going on around baseball. But like, I'm just so like honed in on the pitching thing. Like, you know how crazy it is. All these pitchers are going down, but
Then it's just going to get worse.
it is. Of course it is. I mean, we have about 10 minutes left. I did want to just throw out there a little bit of the MLB draft.
Yeah.
Just shoot some shit about that. Like, me and you talked a little bit. And there's another thing we talked about like a week ago. I sent you when you were talking about the thing that NBC's running right now with like a bunch of like the young prospects in the area. I mean, there's 2 in the tri-state area right now that they're projecting to go in the top 30.
Yeah. You got what?
Salametto. He's a lefty.
Petty? Chase Petty?
And Chase Petty. I mean, have you ever seen either of these kids throw?
Too. Yeah, so Petty throws fucking heat.
He throws gas. I saw that dude something Badler, Brian Badler, I think his name is. He's a scout for Perfect Game.
Okay.
And he I follow him on Twitter and on Instagram, and he was at one of Chase Petty's starts, and you would have thought this kid was a rock star. How many people came out to see Chase? Like, he is going to be a stud, and I hope that he's able. Like, this is the part that I also have to remember. This kid's 17, 18 years old, and he's throwing 100. He's throwing 100.
He has a 70 grade fastball on the scale. Like, that's, I mean, only a few players a year get that, and he's one of them. And he just happens to be a local kid. But
what scares me though about Chase though is that he is that young and he's throwing that hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of players are now. It's crazy. Like,
yeah,
the one prospect was hitting 102. Like, it's just like how? Like, you're 18 years old. But to kind of feud 2 of our talking points today, the one high school pitcher, Bubba Chandler, got a scholarship to Clemson to play quarterback. Why would he go? And he's going to play baseball for them, obviously. But if they're like the MLB is cracking down so bad on pitchers right now, why would you even want to go be a pitcher when you can go fucking be a quarterback?
So do you remember probably like 09, 2010, something like that? There was a player out of Nebraska, Bubba Starling. He actually plays for Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Bubba Starling was the number 1 ranked college football, like high school football quarterback coming out, and he literally had to choose at that like he had to choose as an 18-year-old what profession he was going to choose, because he easily could have. He had a full ride to Nebraska, and he was going to go to Nebraska to be the starting quarterback there. Yeah, and then he was like, you know ridiculous. What? I'm going to go and play baseball. And he ended up going in the top 10, I believe, to Kansas City. And I mean, he wasn't the greatest player ever, but he's one of those guys that I'll never forget. Like, I'll never forget about him choosing that, like, in his life. Like, he had a huge, huge opportunity in his life to choose whether I'm going to be a professional baseball player or I'm going to even do the next 3 seasons here to possibly become a NFL quarterback.
Kyler Murray, it's crazy that these players, like, they're so good at two professions, well, potentially 2 professions, that they have to actually make that choice.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's cool that there's a Clemson. I think his name's Will Tower. He's a Clemson commit, I guess you would say, as a slot receiver. So they're both going to go in the first round. Both players will go first round. Baseball happen to be a slot receiver Clemson and their quarterback for Clemson. Like, it's so weird.
Like, their future just deciding to leave them for baseball.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you know what? That's good for baseball. That's one of those good for baseball things. Like, you know, but they also know. I mean, the pay is in baseball. Money is in. There's money. In baseball.
Guaranteed money. Yeah, you don't like. Yeah. The injuries aren't like life altering injuries for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Leiter. Have you seen anything on Jack? Have you seen any of that? The little rumblings about Jack Leiter?
I've seen him, Brocker. Like, they're dropping. Like, they're
and a big reason why Jack Leiter has dropped. Now, apparently, he has already pretty much informed the Rangers, Pirates, and Tigers he pretty much wants nothing. He like from what I read, he's trying to price himself out of going there, of going to all them 3 teams because the Red Sox sit at 4. And he wants to price himself out of the top 3.
So he's going to agree to the lower money instead of like dropping and still wanting the top 2 pick money.
So what he'll do is he'll say that he wants too much.
Yeah.
He wants because you can
you can say whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
And he is trying to now price himself out of the top 3 so that he can land with the Boston Red Sox.
I mean, that would be great for you, obviously, as a Red Sox fan. That would be fantastic. But I hope that doesn't become a normal thing where players just like, I don't like the top couple teams. I'll just ask for this much money that they're not going to give me above the slot. So I hope that doesn't become a obvious thing, but it would be great.
But the Red Sox did something last year where they were able to manipulate, which is it's pretty much Boston's middle name. They were able to manipulate the middle part of the draft, and they drafted that kid Nick York, who was projected to be like a 4th round pick. They drafted him in the 1st round, and it was able to manipulate the money that they had.
So they could go,
and they could have more money.
They can load up on picks, exactly.
Which ended up drafting that kid from that. What's his name? The fuck is his name? He's Blaze Jordan.
Okay.
They ended up and he was supposed to be the next Bryce Harper is what they were. He was like a phenom in high school and when he was young. So people have been looking at this kid since he was like 7, and he's been dropping bombs. And finally, the Red Sox drafted him, and they were able to pay him more because he was a commit to Mississippi State, and he was a commit there.
Bought him out. Yeah,
they gave Nick York the 1st round pick less money so that they can go and convince him to stay.
Well, that's what the Phillies kind of tried to do with Moniak. They took a player that wasn't really. I mean, not that draft was really loaded anyway, but they took a high school player that they didn't have to pay that number 1 slot money to really, just so they could try loading up on the back end, the middle of the draft. But I mean, there's a lot of great players in this draft. Like I'm excited for
Jordan Lawler. That kid is. I don't know if you've seen any. I've seen a lot of stuff on him. Marcel Mayer. He looks really good. He's projected to go be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, them 2 are like 1-2 on the for most boards at least.
Khalil Watson. He's another shortstop. He's a
little guy, but he got popped. They said like Jazz Chisholm pretty much.
Yeah.
Then Henry Davis, the catcher, is a fucking stud.
They think he's going 6. Kumar Rocker has now dropped to 7 to the Royals.
I've seen him at like 10, 11 at some spots. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like all
it's crazy.
A little bit of control issues. Like it's ridiculous. I love that pitcher out of high school, to Jackson Jobe. Like his stuff. His stuff's so ridiculous. 100%. And he's so young. Like it's crazy.
This last year, I mean, obviously last year's Major League Draft, the MLB Draft was way different because of the whole COVID thing, and I had so much more time, and I had so much time to like really look at the draft. I was so into that. I want to do a full draft show if you're cool with that.
Yeah,
we want to do a full because I want to do like a whole mock draft.
We'll dive into the players.
Yeah, we'll dive into the players. Me and you will dive. We'll maybe within probably like the week before the draft. Me and you will dive into it. I think when is the draft? When is the
July 31st? I believe
July 31st.
Pretty sure.
Put it up.
Like that kid Jobe, he throws 92 to 94. He's in high school, like sits at 92, 94, hits 96, and then he already has a plus slider and a plus changeup. Like his off speed's already, they said his slider's just as good as Rocker's already, and he's a fucking high school senior. And then his changeup's already a plus pitch, and then he throws 96. Like it's ridiculous.
So it's July 11th to the 13th is the draft.
That's the draft.
Yeah, the draft. I just looked. It's July 11th to the 13th. It's in Denver. The first year player draft will take place on July 11th to the 13th in Denver, Colorado, in conjunction with the 2021 MLB All-Star Game. So
really? I know they're doing a combine too, which is weird this year.
And that's tomorrow, right?
Is it? I don't even know. I seen combine.
I think I saw that was. I thought I saw that they were doing some type of combine stuff tomorrow, which is cool, and I'm cool with that. I want to see that because
Yeah.
I like that stuff because I want to see the way that they run a combine because I've seen how like certain like academies do it. What like Perfect Game, I've seen how they've done it. I've seen how like little what is the other one? What's the other big one? Is it PRB or PBR? I know PBR is a beer, but I think it's called PBR. Is it well anyway, they run like a baseball like combine type of thing. I guess like you also want to get your like for like them to be able to rank players throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So they do that, which is really cool, and I love that type of shit. And I really am interested to see how they do this. And I hope they're able to make the MLB draft a big thing.
Yeah, because no one gives a shit about it.
Exactly.
Besides actual baseball fans, but like,
and it's because there's so many rounds. And last year when they cut the rounds off, which was huge. I mean, there used to be like 100 and something. Like I think there used to be like 100 rounds at one point.
Yeah.
Like, which is fucking ridiculous, or 50 rounds, something like that. Either way, like it's still a fucking ton of rounds. It's way too many because you get shit lost in a shuffle at that point. Because I remember like there was years where like that ended up being when like it used to be favor picks were usually towards the end of the draft. Like you'd see like I think Mike Piazza ended up being a favor pick at one point.
Yeah,
like, he was
that one worked out well.
He was Tommy Lasorda's nephew, so they just were like, oh, whatever. Like
fuck it,
exactly. Like I mean, Ruben Amaro Jr. was another. You know, he was good in high school, but like there was other players better than him. But he was picked higher because of who he was.
But at that point, like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's the fucking 43rd round. Like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But like, it's very cool when it does work out, and you see guys drafted that fucking far behind, and they worked for it, and they're like, you know, we're gonna like Roy Halladay's son. He got drafted,
Brendan,
and he wasn't. He probably shouldn't have, but the Toronto Blue Jays drafted him real late in the draft. Because it was the same year that Roy died.
Yeah.
Which was fine, which is cool. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I mean that's all I got. I mean, again, I definitely do want to do a full show because I think that would be really fun and really cool.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Because not many people do that type of shit. I feel like I've seen obviously you see mock drafts for other sports, but like you very rarely see a good one for baseball. So
pretty much baseball mock drafts are just the fucking top. They just list the prospects. It's like,
and that's fine. We can only do the first round, and then we'll talk about guys who we think can go later rounds. You know what I mean? We'll have like a full thing, but I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm down for that. Definitely.
All right. That's all I got. Dan, thank you again. You're the man.
No problem. It's nice to be in a fucking actual house.
No boxes behind it.
Yeah, for real. Still got a lot of work to do. Like I potentially, like obviously, I want to have like an actual place to do a podcast. That'll be the garage probably, but I mean, it's a fucking work in progress. So not in any rush.
Nah, don't rush it. One thing at a time.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, Danny.
All right, brother.
All right, we are out.